Good afternoon and welcome to the PACTA implementation webinar. My name is Stacy Pacheco. I am part of the PACTA team at RMI, the Rocky Mountain Institute. And today we are going to run through the process of the practical implementation of the PACTA for Investors methodology. We would like to start by acknowledging the support of the Malaysia UK PACTA program, from which we received the funding for this project. This is the second webinar of a four-part PACTA webinar series that is supported by the Sustainable Investment Platform in Malaysia. As a quick reminder, we have here a summary of the webinars. So the first webinar was on the PACTA methodology. This was held in April this year. By then, we had the participation of George Harris and Naira Herrera, senior analysts of the PACTA team, PACTA for Banks and PACTA for Investors. If you could not attend the webinar, you can find the recording and the associated slide deck into the SIP website. After today's webinar, which we will cover the practical implementation of PACTA, there will be two more webinars on the PACTA use cases, which will be live on the 19th of September and the 31st of October. We will have the participation of external users of PACTA as case study examples, and we will have a discussion on the learnings on how PACTA can be used for different use cases. So the agenda for today, we will start with a quickly and brief recap of the PACTA methodology, which was mainly what we covered in the first webinar. Second, we will go to the Capital Transition Monitor Platform explanation. So I will show you some slides on the practical side of how to log into the Capital Transition Monitor Platform, which is the website in which all the data transfer and portfolio upload happens. We will run through quickly through the main PACTA results that you will find in the platform. We will do a demo with sample data. So you will learn today how to prepare your portfolio data, how to upload it to the platform, how to generate PACTA results, and how to play the interactive report. At the end, we have some frequently asked questions here for your reference, and finally, some contact points in case you have any further or additional questions. So if we start with the PACTA methodology recap, so this slide covers a very well and comprehensive summary of what we covered during the first webinar on the explanation of the methodology. So here we wanted to start doing it as a brief summary and to give you like the overview again of how the PACTA methodology works. So if we recall, PACTA is a portfolio alignment methodology that is focused on the assessment of the compatibility or the alignment of investment portfolios with climate scenarios using a set of climate indicators. So if we start with these indicators, what we see in the left side of the slide, we start by using production values from physical assets in the real economy from some specific sectors. So PACTA focuses the analysis on 7 main sectors, which are power generation, oil and gas, coal mining, automotive, cement, steel, and aviation. So these are the sectors that the PACTA methodology is focused on. And the general idea behind the specific focus on these sectors is that these cover around 75 to 80% of the total emissions of a usual portfolio. So that's why PACTA focuses on these specific sectors in the real economy. So if we start from those physical assets, so if, for example, the power sector, we will have the information of the generation capacity values of a power plant. So there we will have it for all the specific physical assets within these sectors. And what the PACTA methodology does is it tries to map those physical asset production values to the corresponding values of, it will map the corresponding physical asset values to loans, equities, and bonds portfolios. Today, we will focus only on the equities and corporate bonds side. So the way that PACTA does it is that it takes the physical value of the assets, then it maps to the portfolio, to the financial institution portfolio, which after that, we will then compare with what the climate change scenarios are telling us. So PACTA uses mainly the scenarios coming from the International Energy Agency, but any financial institution applying the methodology can use whatever scenario they are interested in. Just as a quick reminder, there are some methodology documents on the website that you can access, so you can see what are the requirements for the data that needs to be used for the analysis. So briefly, what we do here is just we are comparing how the portfolio production values associated coming the production values coming from the physical assets in the real economy associated to the portfolio, how those values are compared with climate scenarios. And this we do by using different metrics, which we see here a small recap of the different metrics that PACTA covers. So PACTA will tell you the results using exposure metrics, alignment metrics, company specific metrics, and at the end also some risk metrics that are included in the interactive report that we will see later on. So all of this to do like a brief summary of what the portfolio alignment methodology PACTA is doing. In brief, comparing production associated to portfolio values, comparing those with climate scenarios. So this was all covered in the first webinar, like with more and very detailed explanations of some of the principal accounting principles of the methodology and some other details that you may want to refer to. So now, if we go to the second part, which is the bulk of this presentation today, the Capital Transition Monitor Platform. So this is a website, and this website hosts the PACTA for Investors tool. So as I briefly mentioned before, so PACTA relies or has two different modules. It's the same methodology, but practically it is different for investors or for banks. So today we will cover how to implement a methodology for investment portfolios in equity and corporate bonds. So here, this is the website where all the process is carried out. Through this platform, you will find here the link, so you can access it. And through this platform, you will have the possibility to register, create an account, upload your portfolio, and generate the set of PACTA results. So the PACTA for Investors tool focuses again on the analysis of listed equity and corporate bonds. It was this platform, as you see it currently, it was relaunched in March 2021 with an interactive format, which means that you as an investor can analyze multiple portfolios simultaneously. You can save your results online. You can analyze the interactive results. We will see what interactive means in a minute. And you will be able to analyze your results on alignment with some Paris climate goals scenarios. It's important to have in mind that the tool is free to use. We will go through the process of registration in just a moment. You will find all the necessary instructions to generate PACTA results in the platform, including a CSV sample file with the required information from your portfolio to run the tool. But just right before digging into the details of the process of logging into the platform, it is important to reiterate that no data about the portfolio is distributed or used by the platform for any other purpose. So there is an option to delete the portfolio submitted after generating the interactive results, but you can rest assured that the platform is not using your portfolio data for any other purposes, but only for generating the portfolio alignment results. The platform complies with all the necessary measures of security and confidentiality and with the security standards of the German Federal Data Protection Act. So now that we've covered all these main points to start with, I will show you here first in this slide deck the process of signing up, creating your username, but then at the end I will also go to the platform so we can see this process in real life, how it looks like. So if it is the first time that you are accessing to the platform, you will need to create a new username with a new password. We recommend that you create only one username per financial institution, and that you create the username using your not your own personal email, but your institutional email. The initiative registration code, as you see here, should always be general, except for coordinated projects in which we work with supervisors and regulators. But in this case, if you are an asset manager, asset owner, you can log into the platform using the general code, as you see here. Once you create your username, you will receive an email with a link to confirm the creation of your account. If you do not receive it, we suggest that you check the permissions with your IT department, or you can contact us to see if we can help you with the creation of your account. After you get the email confirmation, you will need to log into the platform with your new username and password. When you do that for the first time, you will need to edit your profile by providing some basic information on your organization type, organization name, job title, and the country where your organization is located. Once you complete this process, you will finally land in the main page of the platform, which looks like this. So you will find here 3 different tabs. The information tab, which has, as the name says, general information about the platform, about the analysis, about PACTA. You also have the portfolios tab, where all the data transfer and all the result generation happen. You also have this applications tab, which is, it includes more about general information about the PACTA report and about some other tools that are also incorporated into the platform but are different from the PACTA application. You will also see some general settings button in where you can change your account settings, again, your organization tab, your organization name, as you did at the beginning. If we go into this portfolios tab, you will find everything related to the portfolio management. So here you will see additional sub-tabs, if we can call it like that, such as instructions, portfolio, and results. So the instructions sub-tab contains some of the main tips to navigate the platform. It also contains the portfolio template, so you can see how your portfolio should look like to be accepted by the platform, and some other processes, steps, instructions for you to understand how this general process work. Here in the same portfolio management tab, you find also the button to upload your portfolio. We will go through how to do it in a minute. It's important to know that you can only upload one CSV file at a time. But in case that you are submitting multiple files, you can repeat the procedure for each file, and you will have the same process for which to generate the result. At the end, in the results tab, once you upload your portfolio, you will be able to generate your results. So if we go into the details of how to prepare or how to organize your portfolio data, So within the instructions subtab that we just saw before, you will find a sample portfolio file that looks just like this, like the image that I have here. This is the general format of how your portfolio should look like. We will go through each column right after, but before, there are some important considerations that you need to take into account. It is extremely important that you submit your portfolio in a CSV file. XLS and XLSX files will not be read. Make sure that if you use this portfolio, you don't delete or change the headers of the column, and also pay attention to the number separators. Check the total amount that you are uploading by currency and make any verification that you may want before uploading the portfolio. It doesn't mean that you cannot delete the file and submit it again, but it's really important that you do these checks before uploading the portfolio so you can make sure that the result will be generated. So if we go through each one of these columns, you will have the first one, which is the investor name. This one should be filled with your organization name. For example, the one that you use for the registration. We suggest that all rows will be the same in this file for the investor name column. If we go to the portfolio name column, you can include multiple portfolios in the same file. You don't need to create one file for each portfolio unless you want to, but there is no need for you to do it. The methodology disaggregate your results by portfolio submitted. So if you have here, for example, in this column, 40 different portfolios names, you will receive 40 different reports. You will be able to generate 40 different reports that at the end you can also aggregate, but it's important that every name that you have here in your portfolio name is associated with one portfolio, so you will have results for each one of them. Before filling this column, think about the best output for your organization. If you want to, for example, assess different portfolios at a time, make sure that you use different names. As for the icing column, so each one of these rows will need to correspond to one asset icing, which is the lowest level of aggregation. So these icings are international standard identification numbers for the financial assets. You need to make sure that your items are compatible with the international standard of 12 digits. And for statistical coverage purposes, we suggest that you report all items of your portfolios, even if they are not only listed equity or corporate bonds, which are the two types of financial assets plus funds that will be included in the analysis. And why do we suggest that? Because this will help to have a more accurate view on the value assets covered by the analysis. So this will basically help you and help us to give you the information on the coverage of your portfolio. If we go to the market value column, here you will need to include the amount allocated on that specific icing as per the defined timestamp. Please make sure to report the full number, not in millions, nor in thousands. You can report this amount in any currency. There is no need to convert the amount into USD or euros. What PACTA does is that PACTA will automatically convert this value in USD. So you can have USD, euros, GBP, whatever currency you want, and you have in your portfolio, PACTA will automatically convert it into USD. Be careful with the separators of the numbers. Use full stop as a decimal separator, never space or other types of separators, because in this case, the platform will throw you an error. Finally, on the currency, again, this is related to the market value, and PACTA will use this information to convert the market value into USD. So this, what we just saw is just the summary of how your portfolio should look like. So 5 columns. Please make sure that this is a CSV file and that you use comma as a separator. After you have completed your portfolio preparation and you have saved it in your documents or in any folder in your machine, you can now proceed to the upload phase. So if you remember, we were seeing this upload new portfolio button under the portfolio's main tab. Here you will need to select the portfolio that you just prepared and upload it. So you choose the CSV, then you will need to create a name for the file that you are uploading. Here I have the example of the demo sample that we will see in a minute. I will upload a portfolio on to iShares equity and bonds market indices. And then the final step here is that you will need to select a holding state. So this date should correspond to the timestamp of the portfolio to be analyzed. If you want to analyze a portfolio with a timestamp of 31st of December of 2020, then you will need to pick the holding state 2020. Once you do your portfolio upload, do you then hit on continue, and you will land into this like summary page of the portfolio that you submitted. The process of upload should not take long. It should show you a message notification that your portfolio has been successfully created. And after that, you will be redirected to this portfolio subtab again, in which you will find again a summary of the portfolio that you have submitted. This helps you to check the information that you have uploaded. For example, the timestamp, which corresponds to the holdings that are being analyzed and the data used for the analysis. It will also show you the name given to the file that has been uploaded. It will show you the number of portfolios you submitted in the file. And one of the most important things that you will find here is the view portfolio audit that we have here to the right. So if you click on view portfolio audit, you will find what we'll see in the next slide. But what I wanted to reiterate here is that this is one of the most important steps of the portfolio upload procedure. It is important to remember that the online PACTA for Investors tool rely on self-reported information, meaning that your results will reflect the information that you are uploading. So it is very critical and essential that financial institutions or any institutional investor that is uploading the portfolio to do the analysis verify the quality of the data that is being uploaded. In this case, so if we do that, we will be sure that the results are properly reflecting the data that we are uploading. Once you click on portfolio audit, as I mentioned before, the process of generating this what we see here will take a few minutes, but after you will see this, which is the main summary of the information that you are uploading. It will show you the full picture of the assets that are being identified by the PACTA tool and the total amount uploaded in USD by each asset class. So by each, whether listed equity or corporate bonds. It will also show you some numbers on coverage. You will need to check if the total count of assets corresponds to what you reported, and this will help you to understand what is included or not in the analysis. You will also have a list of invalid ISINs on the second part of the image. We will see that incorrect ISINs. If you have some incorrect ISINs there, you should go back to your portfolio file, correct the ISINs accordingly, and re-upload your portfolio. Conversely, if you think that everything looks fine, then you can download this list as well, just to try to understand what is happening or why you are getting incorrect ISINs. At the end, on step number 3, you can get a detailed file with all the audit and all these numbers that we see here that are used to generate this chart on coverage. The final step of this process is the generation of results. So you will find this in the last subtab to the right, as we see here on the results tab. You can submit as many portfolios as you wish, as I mentioned before. For each portfolio, you will receive one interactive report. If you wish to group your portfolios and see your general result, you can also do this, and this is what I was mentioning at the beginning. So here to the left, you will see all the different portfolios results for each one of the portfolios that you submitted in your file. So you have the portfolio 1, portfolio 2, portfolio 3, and to the right, it says PACTA report. Then you will need to click there and you will find the results, the PACTA results for that portfolio. Conversely, if you want to group your portfolios and have an overall overview of the whole file that you uploaded, you can click on the left side, and then you will need to do group portfolios. You will need to give it a name for this group, and then you can just generate a PACTA report for the aggregated or for the group portfolio. Now, if we go to the PACTA results, this is again like a quick summary and again like recap of what we covered in the first webinar. So there are 3 types of PACTA results that are shown in 3 types of metrics. So the first set of metrics are what we call the exposure metrics. Here you will find the sector coverage, the current technology mix, and the geographic exposure. So in terms of the sector coverage, you will find a pie chart. We will show you the financial sector split of the total investment in a specific asset class. So you will find 1 pie chart for listed equity and 1 pie chart for corporate bonds. The share that is invested in companies with assets in climate relevant sectors, as the ones that PACTA assesses, will be the colored slices. So you will have here, like, again, some first overview of how your portfolio sectoral exposure looks like. Secondly, we have the current technology mix. So this one, this chart shows the technology mix as a percentage of assets under management. This represents the percentage of the portfolio in the sectors and technologies that are being analyzed. We will see that these are part of the interactive charts that we will find in the interactive report. And you will have some different options to see different combinations of the same information. Lastly, on the exposure metrics, we have the geographic exposure. So the color shading shows the production of a specific technology in the respective country. This is possible to know, again, because of the bottom-up main characteristic of PACTA. So because of the asset level data that we have for all companies in the portfolio, which includes information about the geographical location of each asset. If we go to the second type of metric, which are the alignment metric, here we will find 3 different visualization of alignment. The first one is the alignment of production trajectories. The second one is a future technology breakdown, and the third one is the emission intensities. The alignment of production trajectories shows us the development of the production in the selected technology for the next year. As we see here in the first plot, here the portfolio, the continued black line shows you exactly this, the development of the production of your portfolio based on the companies that you have today in your portfolio. And this compares to the color areas that indicate the required change of production according to different scenarios. So here you will be able to see whether your portfolio is aligned or not aligned with different scenarios. In terms of the future technology breakdown, this chart shows the split between technologies. So very similar to the first one that we saw, but this is focused on the sectoral split within the portfolio in 5 years. So not the current exposure, but how this exposure will look like in 5 years according to the planned production values of the company. Lastly, on the emissions intensities, this chart uses the current emissions intensity of companies within the portfolio as a starting point and shows how it is expected to develop over the next 5 years, based again on the plans of production of the companies. Lastly, we'll have the company level metrics. So for some of the most important and the most influential companies that are contributing the most to your results, we will have this set of results: the company low carbon split and the company technology exposure. If we start with the company low carbon split, here it combines the current technology mix, which is shown in the x-axis, and the alignment information on the y-axis for all invested companies in the chosen sector, either power or automotive. The dots positioned further to the right represent companies that have a larger share of low carbon technologies, while the dots that are positioned further up indicate companies that have more ambitious build-up plans. All these explanations are again in the interactive reports. You will find some places in where you can see the interpretation of the chart and how you can play with it. In terms of the company technology exposure, it shows the breakdown of each company, not the portfolio as we were seeing before, but the breakdown of each company's production capacity in each sector by technology. This is compared to the portfolio and to how the portfolio should look like if it was aligned. There is last part on risk metrics that are also included in the interactive report, which shows the transition disruption metric. So this indicator, what does is that it helps investors prepare for potential portfolio disruption stemming from risk associated with a disorderly transition to a low carbon economy. Again, the interpretation and the explanation of these charts are included in the interactive report and were also covered in the first webinar of the PACTA methodology explanation. Now, if we go to the demo with sample data, I will stop share just for a second so I can share my entire screen again, and we can go to the platform. So this is what the Capital Transition Monitor platform looks like. Here you will find the settings button in which you can log in. If it is the first time that you are doing it, you can sign up as we saw in the slides. Here you will need to add your email, create a new password, and again, very important, use the initiative registration code general. After you complete this, you will need to do on register. I will not do this now because I have created already an account, but this is the process that you will go through. After you click on register, you will get a message like this one. So you will get a message from reply@platform.transitionmonitor.com with a link to confirm the creation of your account. You will need to click here, and once you click here, it will take you again to the platform in which you will need to log in normally with your new email and your new password that you have just created. Once you do that, again, you will land in the main page in where you will find what we saw in the slides, the information, the portfolios, and the applications tabs. The most important one for us is the portfolio tab, in which we'll find the instructions, the portfolio with the upload new portfolio button, and the results sub-tab. Here, if you click on the instructions, you see here that there are some basic instructions on how the CSV file look like. Here, you can download a sample portfolio file as the one we saw in the slides with the columns and with some sample data that you can delete and copy and paste your own portfolio that you want to analyze. If we go to portfolio, then you will find the upload new portfolio button. You will need to click here. Again, this is like a warning. File can only be .csv. Please remember that. Please make sure that the separator, the CSV separator is comma, not dot. Dot is used for the numeral separator, for the decimal separator. But here, very important that you upload CSV files. So you can click here. You can go to the platform or to the documents, to the documents where you have your CSV file saved. I don't seem to find it here, but if you will, for example, select the CSV file that you want, then you type your portfolio name. So we will analyze a combination of an equity and corporate bonds emerging market indices, well, for which I call the iShares EM. And then what you need to do is to pick the holding state. So this will show you the last data available to use. And this will need to correspond also to the holdings that you want to analyze from your portfolio. So you will click on continue. And again, the process of uploading the portfolio should not take long. But after you click on continue, you will land again in this page in which you will find the summary that we were talking about before. So you will find here the name of the file that you have just uploaded, the summary of the number of portfolios, the summary of the holding state that you are using, and the view portfolio audit button. This will not take, should not take a long time either, but after you can have, again, like these three different types of information on current coverage, incorrect ISINs, and the option to download the audit and to see exactly what is being included in the analysis. If you want, you can download it, and you can download it also here, download audit, or download any invalid securities that have been identified by PACTA. After you have here, and after you have done the appropriate audit of your portfolio, please remember this is a very important step because your results will reflect exactly the information that you are uploading. Then you will go to the results subtab, and here you will find the portfolios that you are submitting. Here I have a third one because it is another sample that I have here. But these are the ones that we are focusing on our analysis. You have two options. Either you generate PACTA results by portfolio, which will show you the results that we will see in a minute, or you can select both portfolios if you upload two portfolios in the same CSV file, and then you can group portfolios, give it any name that you want. As I have it, aggregated report. I say that the name already exists, but I can do it. Another one, aggregated, for example, and then continue. And then I will have it here, aggregated, the one that I just generated. You can also have the option to delete it in case you want to group it in a different way. But what is important is that you will also have here the option to see the PACTA report generated for the full set of portfolios that you are being analyzed. This is the final step of this presentation. So this is the final result that you will get after the implementation. Here you will find a first section on the introduction, the background of the PACTA methodology, some explanation on how to read the report, some other comments on the methodology, on the data that is used for the analysis, some practical tips on how to navigate the interactive report, and at the end, and some of the options that you have for sharing and for grouping the results. From the second section onwards, you will find the results of the portfolio alignment analysis. You will find in the second section the scope and parameters of analysis. You will start to see, like again, general numbers on coverage. So the total value of the portfolio that is being analyzed, how it divides into corporate bonds, listed equity, and other asset classes. And here we'll start seeing these sectoral coverage metrics as we saw in the slides. So here you will see that all the results are shown differently, divided into listed equity and corporate bonds. So you will have one chart for listed equity and one chart for corporate bonds. And same for all types of analysis and metrics that are being included here. Some of the nice features of the interactive report are related to the fact that you can see quickly on the same chart like different types of analysis. So you can easily change, for example, between listed equity and corporate bonds. You can also select how to see this combination of technology as percentage of assets under management or as percentage of sector, and it will be generated automatically. You have the option to export the numbers that are being used for the plots in case you want to plot it in different ways. You can also give us feedback in terms of how you find the interactive report useful or not for you. And you also have these options to add different charts. For example, if you want to print your report, it is important that the final version of the printed PDF report will have exactly the charts that you see in the interactive page. So if you want to see, for example, the same listed equity chart, but shown differently as percentage of assets under management and as percentage of sector, if you saw, I just click here on the plus button and it generated this new chart. So there are a lot of very interesting and nice widgets for the interactive report. And as I mentioned, you also have the option, some of these menus to understand how the graph is being generated, how to interpret it, and how to use it. If you scroll down throughout the report, you will find all the different metrics that we covered: geographic exposure, alignment with climate sectors. Here, you can do the same, like change between the different options. You will have production trajectories for the different technologies. So you have here for the power sector, how the production trajectory looks like for gas, for coal power, for hydropower, for nuclear. You can also change the market benchmark that you want to compare your portfolio with. You can also change the scenario. So these are the different scenarios that PACTA uses for the portfolio alignment analysis. So here, if, for example, we want to see the WIO 2020, which is a publication of the International Energy Agency, this is the publication of the World Economy Outlook. And here we find different scenarios. So we have the SDS, the SPS. Every color reflects the different scenarios, as we were seeing in the explanation. And here, well, you have the option to compare it with the different sectors and the different technologies. You have also the future technology breakdown. You have again the alignment of emission intensities and the company level results that we saw before. Lastly, to finish with this part of the interactive report, there is an option to share. So you can click on the share button. And there is a note that reiterates that if you are sharing the link that is being generated, it will be, or it can be accessed by anyone. Like anyone with the link can open the report. So it is important for you to double check if you want to really share the link or not. If you can click on continue, then you will have the option of a URL that can be easily shared with anyone. You can also revoke that URL, and so that means that it cannot be shared. You also have the option to print it. So if you click here, you will be able to save it as PDF. And as I was mentioning, this you will get the full sets of results as you were seeing them. And you can then save it as PDF. So lastly, to finish with some of the frequently asked questions and our contact in case you have any questions. So can you report assets without ISIN? No, you cannot report assets without ISIN because the analysis only works with those identifiers. So it is very important that you have ISINs for the financial assets that you want to analyze. There is no limitation on the number of portfolios that you can submit, as I've been mentioning throughout the presentation. We encourage you to report all your portfolios so you can have access to more accurate coverage statistics. There is an option to share your results. There is also an option to print. And there's also this option of download your results, as we saw on one of the settings bottoms to the side of the plots. It is very, very important that you validate the format of the CSV file before you upload it, because most of the errors that you have in the platform when trying to generate the results are associated with the file that you are uploading. So make sure that you use a CSV file and make sure that you audit your portfolio before submitting and before generating your results. Thank you very much for your information, for your attention. This is the information that we can give you in terms of contact. We hope to see you in the webinars that will be live on the 29th of September and 31st of October. In the meantime, please do not hesitate to contact us in case you have any questions at all related to the practical implementation of PACTA or related to the PACTA methodology. For any inquiries into the use of the platform, please send us your questions to the transition monitor at rmi.org email. And if you have more general inquiries about PACTA, please send us an email to pactaforinvestors@rmi.org. Thank you very much for your attention, and hope you find a pleasant day.